this is the very first video on this YouTube channel. I'm very excited to do this. Starting this YouTube channel up just to start documenting my journey, sharing it with the world, I guess. I think it will not only be good for other people to see my journey, but um, also for myself in terms of um, enhancing me as a trader and allowing me to do better. I think it's good, and I'm just looking forward to this step. I'll probably talk more and have more videos about my background, about how I got to where I am as time goes on and as things evolve. Um, but let's get into the charts. We might as well. And I'll go up here. Casper's Frank. I only have it up because I did quite a bit of trading on this week. I'm primarily a break and retest trader. I could probably do a video on my strategy. I tend to use the daily and the weekly to understand what type of bias or what type of that direction I need to be looking at for the upcoming week. And then I tend to use the 4 hour to highlight areas of interest. I do use these more unique time frames of 6 hours, 8 hours, and 12 hours, but I only have them here because it helps in terms of me recognizing extra candlestick patterns that I may not necessarily see or think about when I look at things objectively on a 4 hour time scale, for example. So it just consolidates some of these things together. So an 8 hour would combine these two candles together, for example, or these two candles together, and so on and so forth. And to be honest, it just kind of helps me understand and see certain extra patterns in the market. It's just for my own benefit. I don't necessarily use these as much. Sometimes it does help, to be honest, with drawing some of these levels in as well. But most of my analysis is from day, weekly, down to 4 hour, and then I then use the 15 minute, sometimes the 5 minute, to find my entry. So I'm not necessarily anticipating too much movement. We're in the last hour 45 of the day on Friday. I don't anticipate too much more going on, to be honest. If there does, I guess we'll come back and reevaluate. It's been a bit of a crazy week. Quite a bit of rapid movement, I would say, in all sorts of directions. There's been a lot of news today. Today, for example, there was NFP. We had FMOC earlier this week as well. Relevant announcements as well with the UK, with some interest rate stuff, Aussie, and the Canadian dollar as well this week. So there's been a lot of big news, and there's been a lot of movement in the markets. As you can see, quite a big rip up and a rip down here with Aussie dollar, and we got a yen that's still looking like it's on fire. And I think one thing that I'm starting to turn my head at to have a look at is some of these unique Aussie pairs that I like to look at, because these have been on very big downtrends for quite a bit of time. The Aussie, the Euro Aussie, and the Pound Aussie. And I'm anticipating a bit of a reversal, a bit of a retracement, but quite a deep retracement, just based on what I'm seeing on a higher time scale. It's not as clean here, but hence why I don't think I would go for the pound, just because the pound is also getting beaten up like crazy. But with Euro Aussie, I'm starting to have a bit of interest in trading this up. Where I would trade this up to, though, I would anticipate this area here, because I am very conscious of this downtrend here, and I don't think this context of trading this up, I don't anticipate it lasting very long, because at the end of the day, some of the fundamentals around the euro are still there, but it has been beaten up for a good couple of months. We're coming up to the third month of it being beaten up, basically 2 or 3 months, give or take, because it has been retracing here. But yeah, I think a retracement is looking like it's in order, just based on how these candles these last few weeks have been setting up here. Again, I use this to consolidate the candles, which also helps. And as you can see here, we've got a bit of a shooting star here upwards, and this candle's looking like it's going to close again as a bit of a doji. You could argue that's a pin bar, but give or take. But I would say the combination of this doji slash pin bar and this shooting star here, because this candle has quite a bit of momentum and it's quite solid as well. I am anticipating this to continue its rise upwards and probably to this area. So I would only trade it to 1.53 flat, and I would stop, or if I want to be really conservative, probably 1.525 flat. So this has kind of piqued my interest going into the following week. And if we drop down to the daily as well, we've got a bit of structure that's actually building here in terms of having a bit of a reversal, having a bit of change in direction here. We've come to these lows, and we started to build a bit of structure going up, and we had a bit of a break here, but then we have a bit of a break and retest of this area here going on that happened this week. So we had this level here, we broke out of it, we've come back, we've tested it, we've rejected it, and it looks like we're going to continue. And I feel like the next area that it would come up to is the area I've highlighted up here. So I am looking to try and trade it up. There is a bit of concern, I would say, just because of the fact that we are currently in a bit of a resistance area. So there is that to think about, and obviously in the context of a big downtrend. But I think this is just what I'm going to go with. Part of my trading plan as well would be, because I am more of a trend follower, so I would actually be trying to sell this. But I think there's a few signs in the higher time frames that's indicating to me that there should be a bit of a retracement before maybe continuing down. So I would probably only risk half of what I would normally risk if I was to just do a trend continuation for trades down this direction. So I'm definitely looking for entries next week for this. I think for me, I tend to use Fibonacci's as well to try and understand where I would try to line up my entries. I like to use Fibonacci's as an extra confluence as well as the levels. Obviously, I would say this 50% area would be a good place to watch going into next week if it does retrace that far, as an area to potentially pick up a trade and try and trade it up. I guess back to this high as a TP1. To this high as a TP2, which kind of lines up with this 27 extension, and then to that 1.25 1.2 to 1.52 to 1.53 area. Big mouthful there. Apologies about that. And we'll see going into next week what happens. We could only come to this 61.8. I'll keep an eye on it. I do use these moving averages as well as an extra confluence as well. So if I do see certain candlestick patterns that are also matching up with moving averages on a higher time frame, that I might go for it too. But I think that's probably one of the main things that I am keeping an eye on going into next week. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do going forward with the other pairs. We have got a bit of a break and retest here of this previous high on the CAD Swiss franc as well. So this also looks like a bit of an interesting area to consider trading going into next week. If we look at the daily, we broke these highs after struggling twice this week, and you could arguably say that this test today tested that area and we could continue. And one thing we have seen in the markets this year is that when things trend, they are trending like crazy. So there could be a bit of an opportunity there to try and catch a trade in there and trade that up. I would say it does look quite interesting. There's like some longer terms of resistance on this side here, but for me, I do try to pay attention more to fresh levels of resistance and support, and not get too fixated on past levels as much. We'll just see what the market does when we get to these points. But yeah, I think I would be looking at this as well. It is a bit choppy, a bit messy at the moment, but it's definitely one to consider. Fundamentally speaking, as well, the CAD is a lot stronger than the Swiss franc at the moment, so there is a good fundamental bias with this as well. Um, USD Swiss franc, this would have been a good one to pick up if you'd got in here. If you did, congrats. Um, this looks like it's trying to even break out of this area tonight, which would be crazy going into the next week because that means be reaching new highs again. At least in terms of recent price movement, this has been very strong the last couple of days. Oh, this is not USD Swiss franc. This is USD CAD. This has been quite strong in the last couple of days, but I don't really like to trade this particular pair just because it's quite range bound. USD Swiss franc is up here, sorry, and this is what I meant because I knew what I was thinking. Um, so yes, this is still on a tear, and like I said mentioned before, um, we have another market that's just trending like crazy, going to the absolute moon. We've been seeing this across the board. Aussie's been slammed to the floor. Same with the pound and the various yen pairs a few months before that. So I think I would say the Swiss franc, USD Swiss franc, CAD Swiss franc are ones that I'm interested in. I'm interested in this Euro Aussie reversal. I think the pound Aussie is a bit too choppy for my liking, and to be honest, it's always kind of been like that for me. It's never the smoothest for me a lot of the time, unless I'm trading it down a lot of the time. So I think I will edge more towards the more stable Euro Aussie to trade that up, potentially going to the new week. Just trying to find the setup. Other pairs I'm not really too interested in. I think, to be honest with you, we've got Euro Pound here that could you could potentially trade down. It has hit this area here, it's starting to really wick out. You could potentially think about trading this back down, but I think this type of momentum is always a bit scary for me. So I would have to see um, a bit of a reason to trade it down on maybe like a 4 hour, a bit of train break of structure. Probably need a bit of maybe come back down towards maybe here to this level here, come back up, and then starting to see some sort of rejection of this area again before potentially trading it down. I think trading it here is a bit too risky with the amount of momentum that this thing has gone up with. And I guess it also kind of counteracts my um, Euro Aussie play a little bit as well. If I'm anticipating a bit of a Euro bullishness for the short term to um, breathe from the dumping that has been happening across the board on the euro. But yeah, I think I'm gonna round up here. It's just meant to be a bit of a quick whistle top store. I don't mind going through some pairs. Maybe I think going forward, obviously this is my first video, so don't really have a lot to go off. People might have some suggestions or certain pairs that might want me to go through, or maybe for me to go about this in a bit of a different way. I'm learning on the job at the moment, so bear with me. This is my first video, so we'll keep learning, we'll keep pushing, we'll keep improving. One thing I would say as well is that I do keep an eye on stuff like gold and indices. Um, Indices I keep an eye on just because I am invested in the stock market, so I do keep attention to what's going on here. So at the moment I am buying as we are in this nice support area, but I don't really trade it. To be honest, it's one of those things that I have. always considered wanting to learn how to trade, but um, I just haven't really got around to it, and I think I haven't had a lot of luck whenever I've tried to trade it. So it's one for me to think about. I think this might be part of the journey that helps me in learning how to trade gold or indices or stuff like that. But let's see where the world takes us. You probably see my Funding Trading Plus challenge up there as well. I am undergoing a bit of a process to get a funded account through them. I've just got a account with the funded trader as well, which I'll be able to use on Monday. I've had some FTMO ones as well, but I think I will leave those type of discussions for another day, just to paint more of a picture as to what exactly my journey has been as well. Um, so yeah, I guess I will leave it here, and you guys have a nice day. Leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and yeah, we'll keep this train going. Take care.